Wow.
And that was one hurdle done. Now I needed health workers. So I go to Parliament, I go to Cabinet to ask, I need health workers. We needed about 260 billion. That couldn't be provided. But eventually we settled for 49 billion.
Wow.
Which Parliament approved and was given to us.
Really?
So
listen, I know people complain about Parliament. I thank you for that. I did not know that.
yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, most of us here, I've been hearing about vaccination. Sometimes we end up hearing more news about people who resisted vaccination, but we don't get to see the big picture. So Parliament approved 49 billion.
Yes. And that year, 2012, we recruited over 8,000 health workers.
Wow.
And that brought our percentage from 53% nationwide to over 75%.
Wow.
So now I had health workers, I had vaccine, I had money to give health workers extra money for
work.
Now, UNEPI, we dismantled UNEPI, gave this responsibility to national medical stores. So national medical stores now stores
the
vaccines and distributes it.
Wow.
Very effective.
How is that change? Is that working? Is that better?
Yes, because in 6 months we realized drastic improvement in our coverage from about 50% to 97%.
Wow.
It was a world record for Uganda. Everybody came to find out what Uganda did.
Excellent, excellent. Listen, even if I had only 15 minutes, I have 45. We're going to go to the next break. I really want to congratulate you for what you've done.
Thank you.
Uganda's children now, you got these babies on your heart.
Yes.
So what coverage are we at now?
I think we are between 104, about 104%.
Wow.
I don't have the latest, but that was about 2 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, we're going to take a break. I'm talking to Dr. Christine Ondoa, former Minister of Health, currently Director General, Uganda AIDS Commission. When we do come back, I want to find out where are all the abstinence and being faithful billboards and advertisements? Why is it's only condoms that we get to see? Has the condom merchants, pharmaceutical companies, taken over the AIDS campaign? We'll be back after this. Everybody, December 360. Tonight, I'm dressed in red, as you all can see. It's Healthy Friday. We want to make it a good, happy Friday, as everyone is. I'm talking to Dr. Christine Ondoa, former Minister of Health. She's Director General of Uganda's AIDS Commission. And before we took the break, we were just learning that she's from Moyo. She did her exams under a steam because Lakwena had cut off the supply of the UNEB exams. And then we just had a lot about her work in terms of the immunization program that is going on, turning it from about what?
50%.
50% to about 110. 104%. All right, now I want to move into HIV/AIDS.
Yeah.
I want to tell you, many of us are bothered. I have to say this to you. What's bothering us is the fact that Uganda's policy and strategy of ABC, abstinence, being faithful, and if you must do it, use a condom. We don't mind. We don't have problems with condoms. But what we have a problem is the total silence. I don't see billboards on abstinence. I don't see billboards on being faithful. Uganda has the highest number of young people. The majority of our people are 18 and below, for whom sexual activity is not only dangerous, it's a crime of defilement.
Yeah.
Why is it that there's only billboards on campaigns of condoms? What's happened to that whole campaign that the president keeps talking about?
First of all, thank you for that question, and thank you for your observation. Recently, Uganda AIDS Commission set up a committee called the Message Clearing Committee. And this committee clears messages from around the country, including messages from Pastor Simpa. So if you have messages that you want to put on billboards specifically abstinence and being faithful. You send it to us, we look through it, and we clear it, and you are free to put it on the billboard. And we've cleared so many of those messages, including messages from UCAN. UCAN is Uganda Christian Aid Network. And many of them were on abstinence and being faithful. But for one reason or another, we've not seen them on the billboards. Perhaps they don't have enough funding to put them on the billboards. I don't know. But we've done that clearance.
Okay, the truth is, I've been in HIV/AIDS for 20 years, Dr. Christine. I have to tell you, nobody pays abstinence much attention anymore. It was so vilified. It was so vilified when the president went to Manila.
Yes.
He gave a speech at the AIDS in Bangkok.
Yeah.
The next AIDS conference was in Canada.
Yes.
Then this recent one was in Australia. I was part of these conferences, but there was such animosity because for most of the Western AIDS experts, for them any idea about sexual restraint, sexual delay, abstinence, virginity, it is stigmatized. It's seen as something that hinders their freedom from sex. So apparently nobody is giving money anymore. Civil Society Fund, I used to have I've been doing 20 years at Makere. We've asked until we've just gave up. Nobody is giving money for this. So Uganda Health Marketing, USAID, Minister of Health, all of these are repeating the same thing again and again. And I've just wondered to myself, could it be that there is either stigma or the condom pharmaceuticals are doing a lot of advocacy behind, and we who are we are not doing lobbying? What's going on?
Well, the other good news is that Uganda AIDS Commission has just completed the new Uganda National Strategic Plan on HIV/AIDS. And this will run from July 2015 to June 2020. And in that new strategic plan, we have emphasized the primary prevention, and A&B has been given emphasis.
Can we give a hand clap? I think that is excellent. 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 That's wonderful.
And the president is also behind that. He is for A&B. If you heard his recent address in December on the World AIDS Day, he talked specifically on A and B. So we are not off.
That is great. That is great. Now I have to share something with you, Dr. Christine. Back in 2004, this is an old file of mine. Back in 2004, I was hired by the Uganda AIDS Commission. I have the information right here. That's 8 September 2004. I was hired by Uganda's AIDS Commission. Those of you can see, this is my document, and this is terms of reference. I was hired, you can bring this in, this terms of reference. I was hired along with 3 other specialists, professor from Makere, professor from Harvard Green, to produce a document on a policy on abstinence and being faithful in the country. Because it was seen, there was our strategy of ABC, that we had policy guidance on condoms, we had policy guidance on even VCT, we had policy guidance on orphans and vulnerable children, we even have policy guidance on circumcision, male circumcision. But there was no policy, and there's been no policy guidance on abstinence and being faithful. So donors would say, hey, we want to give money to abstinence, we want to give money to being faithful, but there is no policy. So I worked on this policy, I know for sure, and it was put under the bed of the administrators of the commission there. It was opposed by the Western donors. I remember very much that. I want to ask you, is there an effort? Have you found anything? Is there a new policy on abstinence and being faithful, or is that gap still there?
The gap still exists, but we're working on it. After we've produced the document on this new strategic plan and prevention, where primary prevention is emphasized. We, just like it was done during your time, we got consultants to write this chapter of prevention. And the consultants did a wide consultation in, I think, districts and, you know, stakeholders. And, you know, they put their data together.
Good.
So it's not something that we have totally ignored. And we're also doing the abridged version of this. Okay. And again, the emphasis on primary prevention.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yes.
I'm happy to hear that. Now, funding, you say that for you are clearing messages.
Yes.
You've put a committee on clearing messages. But now my question is this. When do you regulate that, look, our strategy is ABC, still is. How do you regulate when you say, okay, there is just too much messages on C, and there's not enough messages on A and B? Is there a place where, for example, we have the Equal Opportunity Commission, where equality is presented? We have the regulators of ICT, communication. When do you regulate and say, look, we are looking at the expenditure, both private and government, and we see that a lot of the money is going maybe in prevention, or it's going in care, or it's in one side of this issue? Now, is there a place where you are assessing this and the report presented to you?
Yes, we do. The committee also regularly gives us their feedback. But also, as the Director General at Uganda AIDS Commission, I monitor this. And together with our team, we are able to gauge and say, look, wait here, these messages on this are more than this. We want more on this.
I want to tell you from my side, there's so much more about that. In fact, I was taking pictures of it as I was going through the city. I'll show you a few pictures when we take the break. But across the city, there is really a great need. And I don't want to stay on it too much longer.
Right.
But I want to tell you, I was in Wandagea yesterday, and I knew I was going to interview you. So I took a few of the pictures, and I want to, if possible, I want to show some of the pictures. I want to show some of the pictures to you, because what bothered me very much is that there is mostly, if I can be clear, it's mostly take charge of your life, do this, do that, I'll bring the pictures to you. Now with our special gadgets, we can be able to do that. So if people have ideas of what can be done as far as reinvigorating the campaign, in light with what the president is saying, your line is open.
What I'm urging the public is we have cleared very many messages, even on abstinence and being faithful, except that, as you said, the funders for these messages are not many. And recently, these billboards you see on Take Charge of Your Life is being financed by a group called Obulamu, I think also from the USAID. And they have the funding, and they've put across.
Can I show that to you? Here it is. I don't know if you can see it. It's over here. This is on my little tab. I now bring it up, but let me just, for the purposes of our conversation, here's How Is Your Life, Obulamu. Take Charge, okay? I have, and the funders you can see is USAID and PEPFAR, okay? Along with the Ministry of Health, all right? There's a couple others that I've been seeing. Here's another one by the Health Marketing Board, a health marketing group called, is it The Good Life? Or what is this? Is USAID again. Can you just bring it in? Let me just show it to you over here. If you could see who is funding it. That's The Good Life, UHMG, okay? Smooth and strong. I mean, these people even make you, they're giving free condoms. The evaluation is how many condoms were handed out. Great, we were out yesterday. We handed out 10,000 condoms. At the end of the day, I ask Dr. Christine, I've worked at Makerere for 20 years in AIDS prevention. And I've seen sometimes companies come and give free condoms at in the halls of residence. And those who are sexually active are given this value for money. But I kept asking them, UNFPA, Health Marketing Group, if you've given this child who is sexually active money in the form of condom, what do you give this other person in terms of encouraging them to abstain, because they are saving us government money. I mean, if all the sexual activity that